Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Monday. I know I wasn't really here for over the weekend. You might even be able to hear it. It's a slight tad bit of a cold, so I'm coming out the other side of it. But yeah, it's good to be back doing some videos, talking some football and talking Spurs football. The international break's over and we have a game tonight, match day. 8 p.m. kickoff against Fulham at home. So very, very interesting game to talk about today. We'll talk about some team news. We'll talk about Fulham team news, sort of Fulham form, as well as talking about some transfers. So very good to be talking about some transfers. There are very interesting rumours that have come out recently. So we're doing 2 videos today talking about both. But I'm going to start with the game. So if you're here for transfer news, you might want to skip on a bit, but I'm talking about the game to start. So yes, Fulham at home. So very interesting game. London derby. Those are always a very good, interesting game. I love London derby so much. It's just ironic that Spurs or any London team seems to play a London derby every other week. You think of your Fulhams, your Brentfords, your Chelseas, your Arsenals. There's so many in the league right now. It's bonkers, you know. But we're talking Fulham, and obviously we have played Fulham this year. We did lose to Fulham on penalties of the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup, the League Cup, the Carling Cup, whatever you want to call it. We did lose on penalties that game or that day. This is going to be a different Spurs team playing tonight. There might be a specific name that did start that game playing in this game, but that will be a force change, which I'll obviously talk about in a second. But it'll be a different game entirely. We won't be going to penalties. I can promise you that. I can promise you there's going to be 0-0 penalty shootouts. But I also think it'll be a different game. Us playing at home, us playing the starters, you know, and I'm hopeful that if we do play up to the standard that we know we can play at, that we're hopeful of seeing some of the other players coming in and sort of getting a few minutes to see what they're all about. But let's talk Fulham first. So Fulham, as we talk after this weekend so far, are 13th in the league. Now, obviously, they haven't played this weekend, whereas all the other teams around them have played. And I think you think of 13th, you think they're in a bad season. They're already 7 points above relegation. So that's not too much concern right this second. You know, hell, a win right now, you know, that would put them into, you know, the top half of the table. So 13th, trying to ignore that. They've not had that bad a start to this season. Obviously, they got rid of their main guy in Mitrovic. So you know, it takes a bit of time to gel, build up the strikers they have now. But we're going to talk a little bit about some injury news and things like that. But yeah, I think Fulham, as we speak, you know, 3 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses. Quite consistent. They do ship a few goals. They've conceded 13 in 8. And they've only scored 8 in 8. So not prolific goal scorers. You can get at them at the other end. And I think that might be slightly what's going to happen tonight. I think you'll find that we probably will get out of them a little bit. Yeah, we look at sort of how they've done this season, and you know, yes, they've beaten teams like Sheffield United at home, but they did lose at home to Chelsea. They lost at home in the EFL Cup to Norwich. They beat Luton. They had a scrappy draw with Palace away. They got thumped by Man City. You know, it's been a real up and down season. You know, it's not something that they're coming into this game with, you know, a ton of form. You know, winning 2, losing 2 and drawing 1 in that 5-game period. It's a difficult one, but I have always been very prominent on this. London derbies, not North London derbies. London derbies, or derbies as a whole, you don't really look at form all that much because it's sometimes who wants it more on the day. We've seen it where we've gone and play against Arsenal, we look down and out and we beat them, or vice versa. Same with Chelsea, same with the Brentford or Fulham. You know, all these teams, it doesn't matter what's going on. If you're up for it and you want it, some of those 50-50s fall your way. In terms of team news for Fulham, this obviously has come from Marco Silva, the Fulham manager himself, when he was talking about, some of the injuries leading into this game. He was talking about Issa Diop, centre back. Obviously, he has an issue still at the moment. He said Adama, Kenny Tete and Tosin Adarabioyo, obviously we know him quite well, are still out, plus Issa Diop. As you know, in the last game, he got an injury. We're assessing him. Let's see how things go in the next few days, but he's going to be out of the game. He did talk about, you know, the international break. They've not had any injuries for the players coming back from international break. He talked about some players that had, you know, been quite far on international break, racking up those air miles, as they say. But I think, Spurs have quite a few of those anyway. I don't think it's much of an excuse, to be honest, for any team. We've had Son go to Korea. We've had Lo Celso and Romero go to Argentina, Brazil with Richarlison. I think even Emerson went, actually, as an injury replacement. So it's not really that big a concern, I think, with international breaks being this early on in the season. It can play a factor, but when both teams have got those sort of issues, it shouldn't be a concern for either team at the moment. In terms of Spurs at the moment, there was something really interesting that I want to talk about when it comes to Spurs, and actually just the injury news side of things, because there's an update around Rodrigo Bentancur. Also, I did kind of look at one of the Football London posts a couple of days ago, and they were talking about how he is in terms of in training, who he's linking up with, when he's playing and things like that. And it was something that I think excites us all. In terms of Spurs, Ange did talk about the internationals and how we've kind of come out the other side looking fairly unscathed. I know there was, Sonny looked like he had a bit of an injury, so did Romero. Both seemed to be fit and raring to go for tonight's game. He did talk about Brennan Johnson, and Brennan Johnson has been in training as well, so it looks like he'll be an option for tonight. Brian Hill's looked apparently very sharp in training, which is good. It's another attacking option that we can throw into the mix if we need to. But he did talk about Bentancur, and Bentancur is now back in training, which is very exciting. It's going to take a few weeks, I think, still to get him up to some form of match fitness and match speed. I think you'll probably see him play maybe an under-23 game for 45 minutes, that he might play some of those games leading into maybe a substitute appearance for Spurs. But he talked about, I think it was Rob Guest, he was talking about in training, who seems to be linking up well with Bentancur. Obviously playing this three-man midfield, we play a 6 with 2 8s. They kind of looked at Bentancur as being an 8, which I think we all can expect. But he said his link-up play with James Maddison was very, very good, which I think is exciting, knowing Maddison is the main creator of the team and one of the main players. He said his 1-2s, his link-up, his quick touches, his quick passes with Maddison was phenomenal. So that's exciting thing. That's a really exciting thing to see. Now, yes, we have an international break coming up in the next month. Do I expect to see him maybe before that? Potentially, maybe a little substitute appearance, but I don't think we'll be. I think after the international break, we'll see a lot more of Bentancur, which is really exciting. The fact that I've been on this train for a while, saying that Rodrigo's been probably our best midfielder ever since he's joined. But speaking of midfielders and team news, obviously we know about Yves Bissouma's suspension after getting the 2 yellows and red card against Luton Town on our last game out before the international break. Andrew was talking about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He said he's been training fantastically well. And he basically let slip he's going to be playing tonight, saying it looks like he's ready-made to play against Fulham. And I think I'm excited to see Højbjerg. I think, look, he played in the last Fulham game. He played as an 8, and I'll be frank, he didn't play well. But then a lot of the players didn't play well. I'm looking forward to seeing him in this system with these players in this type of game at home, where we'll see if Bentancur can play the 6 role, because I think that's where he's going to be playing tonight. You'll still find you'll have the Maddison and Pape Matar Sarr there. Pape Matar Sarr looks like he's come past his injury scare as well. He's going to be playing 6, and I want to see how he does at 6, because we've only really seen him at 8, other than the substitute appearances. But I want to see, good big chunk of sort of gameplay from him. I've been on the record and said, I don't know if the system really truly suits his style of play, because I've only seen him in an 8. Maybe it works as a 6, and maybe that's an option that we have going forward, that him and Bissouma can be the 6s, and that might put a skip in the odd man out role. But at the same time, I do think Bissouma would be that step above him, and that's the issue. But he wants game time, and that's the issue with Højbjerg. Maybe he absolutely drops a 10 out of 10 performance, and then, I know we play a quick turnaround from Friday's game away at Palace, but, Bissouma's on 4 yellow cards. He's going to pick up another one soon. We know what Bissouma's like. He will pick another one up soon, and Højbjerg will then get another chance, injuries aside, or suspension aside. But yeah, so I think in terms of injury news, we don't really have anything that isn't something that we already know, like a Sessegnon. We already know he's out, right? So look, you're looking in goal, you're going to go Vicario in goal, you're going to left to right of Udogie, Van de Ven, Romero, Porro. Your 3-man midfield should look like a 6 of Højbjerg, Maddison, Pape Matar Sarr. And your front three, I expect to see kind of what we saw against Luton. I think it'll be Richarlison, Sonny and Kulusevski. I wouldn't change much. I want to try and start to get a regular team and build that team up. Because again, we're 9 games into the Ange Ball system. We still are working out kinks and clunks of a system. It'd be good to get some regular minutes and regular teams that you don't really have changes. Tonight's will be a forced change, but you don't. If you had everyone fit, you don't really change a lot, if you know what I mean. In terms of what I think the game will look like, I do see us winning. And I see us winning 2-0. I think they're not prolific goal scorers, Fulham. We are. Yes, we concede goals, but we are prolific goal scorers. And if I had to put a guess onto the goal scorers of today's game, I think I'm going to see a little bit of a James Maddison goal. I definitely want to see a little bit of a Madders goal. And I've got a feeling something like a Pedro Porro, like an option you don't think is going to score. I think we are going to get them. And I think hopefully we can get them early on. Opens up the game a little bit more. We get them again. Maybe we start to, kill the game in terms of things like that. And then you start to see maybe a little bit more of a Lees, a Brian Hill, a Lo Celso, maybe a Skip, those sort of guys. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about some transfer news now. And it is on Eric Dier. I've talked about how Sporting Lisbon are interested in Eric Dier, Saudi Arabia are interested in Eric Dier. I want to talk about Eric Dier and a team that was interested in him. In the summer, it wasn't something they pushed ahead with, but they did have interest. And it's Bayern Munich. And so this comes from the Sports Build, who put out the Tottenham Hotspur central defender Eric Dier is an option for Bayern Munich in January, with Ange Postecoglou willing to allow the sale. The Spurs boss has made it firmly clear he wants the centre-backs to be quick and mobile. I mean, that last part we know. Look at the 2 centre-halves that play right now. Quick and mobile. But look, I think Dier might accept a sale to a Bayern Munich because it's Bayern Munich. But I think Dier still wants that loan for 6 months. Free agents, I call it free agency like it's the NBA or NFL, but you know what I mean. To become a free man so you can sign a free transfer with a different club to earn as much money as possible. Don't blame him for it. And maybe he still wouldn't, but he might take a loan deal somewhere and sign that extension with that club as well. But you never know. I think Spurs might even allow him to go on a free, just knowing that he's gone and the wages are gone. Because Bayern Munich could afford his wages. That's not an issue for Bayern Munich. Let him go. I mean, they took Harry Kane. If you can take someone really great, got an option for you there. But we shall see on the Eric Dier situation. I do see him going in January, and I do see Spurs using his spot on the squad, or in the squad, for a player they definitely get a little bit younger and to coach up, which I think is very exciting, if I'm honest. And it might be someone from the under-23s. It might not be. We shall wait and see. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you did enjoy it. Drop a like on the video if you did. Hit me in the comment section below around the game tonight. What do you expect the game to look like? What do you think the score's going to look like? Do you agree on my team? What happens with the team? If you don't agree with me, let me know what you think there. Obviously, with the Eric Dier situation, hit me with a little bit on that if you want to as well. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are only a few from 1,400, which is cool and exciting. And hit the bell notification for more, because I will have another video out a little bit later around some transfers that you're going to want to take an interest in, because it's a bit different. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the video, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.